Episode 5. The next morning, the atmosphere in the Aurora's humble dining area was peaceful, as Ren, Leo, and the Cardinals shared a simple yet comforting breakfast. The television in the corner of the room broadcast the morning news from Olympus City. The image on the screen immediately captured everyone's attention. The head of the city's defense groups, Chief Albert Garpon, a severe-looking man in an impeccable uniform, appeared alongside a tall, charismatic man with a firm yet kind gaze. Augusto Orion, the master of the Dawn Guild, a man with a calm demeanor but an imposing presence, and a Class S adapter. We have successfully dismantled a secret operation by the city's dark forces after a long period of planning, the defense chief declared in a grave, authoritative voice. This blow will help maintain peace in Olympus City and demonstrates our unwavering commitment to the safety of our citizens. The camera briefly focused on sealed containers that appeared to hold some kind of merchandise. Ren froze, the spoon halfway to his mouth. His eyes were glued to the screen, but his mind traveled back to his parents, the last time he saw them, the explosion that left him unconscious. The mention of dark forces resonated within him, sparking a pang of hope mixed with fear. Adrian, observing Ren with his usual perceptiveness, noticed his sudden preoccupation and the shadow of sadness that crossed his face. "Ren? Are you all right? You look troubled." Before Ren could answer, Leo quickly intervened with a forced smile. "It's nothing, Adrian. He's just still getting used to the city news, I guess. He's been a little isolated for the past few years." Ren nodded vaguely, still not taking his eyes off the screen, even though the news had shifted to another topic. "Yes, that's it, just that." Internally, however, a storm of questions and emotions shook him. He felt an urgent need to know more, to find any clue that might lead to his parents. But the deep-seated mistrust from years of solitary survival held him back. He wasn't ready yet to share that vulnerable part of his past with the Aurora. He needed more time, more proof that he could fully trust them. The secret of his parents, for now, would remain hidden beneath a facade of apparent indifference. To divert attention from the news and his own turbulent thoughts, Ren addressed Diana with a question that had been circling in his mind. "And when will we start getting missions?" Diana, with her usual calmness and organization, smiled softly. "Patience, Ren. Before jumping into action, we need to ensure we have a solid foundation. Right now, our biggest challenge is the lack of administrative staff." "Administrative staff?" Leo asked, frowning. "Why do we need them?" Diana explained patiently. "We need a person who can help us organize, categorize, and determine the level of the missions that arise. It's crucial not to put anyone at risk, especially you two who have just joined. Good management will allow us to be more efficient and strategic." "And where can we find such a person?" Leo inquired, looking at the Cardinals curiously. Cesar, who had been silent until now, let out an impatient snort. His temper, as always, manifested quickly. "If you're so eager to do missions," he snapped, staring at Ren and Leo, "your first mission will be to go with me to find the perfect assistant for the guild. That way you kill two birds with one stone. You get us help and stop asking all the time when we'll go out and fight." His tone left no doubt about his impatience. Adrian intervened with a conciliatory smile. "Cesar has a point. It's an important task, and this way you can see a bit more of the city and how we operate. Besides, meeting new people is always useful in this world." Bruno added with his usual enthusiasm. "Yeah, a recruitment mission. Who knows what kind of talent we'll find out there." Diana nodded, approving the decision. "It will be a good first experience for you. Cesar has a keen eye for capable people. I trust his judgment." Ren and Leo looked at each other, somewhat surprised by the sudden turn of events. It wasn't exactly the kind of mission they imagined, but at least it was a start. And the prospect of leaving the base and exploring the city, even with the impatient Cesar, offered them an opportunity to see the world beyond the Aurora's walls. That same afternoon, the trio, Ren, Leo, and the taciturn Cesar, set off, marking the young members' first foray into the outside world for the Aurora. Curiosity bubbled in Ren and Leo, who couldn't contain their excitement at the prospect of this mission, even if it was just for recruitment. "So, Cesar? Where are we going to look for this person?" Leo asked, his eyes bright with anticipation, as they walked through the streets still scarred by the meteor's devastation. Ren nodded, sharing the same concern. "Yeah? Is it someone special? Do they have cool abilities? Cesar walked ahead of them with a firm, silent stride, his back stiff as a board. His answer came without stopping, in his characteristic cold and cutting tone. We're going where unimaginable talent is located. And no, brats. Don't ask so many questions. Internally, however, a doubt gnawed at Cesar's mind. Was it a good idea to bring these two? Especially for her. The person they were heading towards was an enigma, an unpredictable force whose temperament could rival his own. The idea of having two rookies witness a possible confrontation put him in an even worse mood. He just hoped they wouldn't get in the way. This simple recruitment mission could become much more complicated than it seemed. As they continued their journey alongside Cesar, the urban landscape, a mix of building remnants and nature beginning to reclaim everything, unfolded before Ren and Leo's eyes. Despite the 5 years that had passed since the resplendence, certain corners of Olympus City still held echoes of its past, memories of a distant lifestyle already fading from the young men's minds. Leo pointed to a ruined building with a twisted steel beam pointing to the sky. There, that's where we found those cans of food a while ago, Ren. We had to fight a group of scavengers to get them. His voice, though youthful, had a tough edge acquired out of necessity. Scavengers are individuals, both adapted and non-adapted, who dedicate themselves to looting the rubble of Olympus City. Unlike the guilds and factions, which have a more structured purpose, scavengers operate on their own or in small, unorganized groups. Their only goal is survival. They seek food, supplies, technology, or any valuable object they can sell or use. They act without law or morals, exploiting the chaos to obtain what they need, regardless of its source. Although they are not a formal faction, their presence is a constant danger, as they often clash with others over resources, adding another layer of risk to the already perilous life in the city. Ren nodded, his gaze somber as he observed a dark, narrow alley. And we hid from the vigilantes down that alley once. They were hunting anyone with newly manifested abilities. A chill ran down his spine as he remembered the tension and fear of that moment. Vigilantes are people, generally adapters, who do not belong to any guild or faction. They act on their own or in small groups, taking the law into their own hands. Their motivation is to dispense justice in a city where the legal system has collapsed. However, unlike the guilds, they do not follow rules or adhere to a code of conduct. This makes them unpredictable and often violent. Some vigilantes are seen as heroes by the people, as they punish criminals and protect the innocent. Others are feared, as their brutality can be as dangerous as that of the criminals they pursue. Vigilantes are a reflection of the anarchy in Olympus City. They passed the ruins of what was once a bustling market, now a labyrinth of shattered stalls and rotting goods. Ren recalled stealing some fruit from there, the desperation etched into every bite. Leo pointed to faded graffiti on a wall, a symbol that they and other homeless youth used to mark safe territories. These places, now marked by decay and danger, evoked vivid memories of a time of constant struggle, difficult decisions, and the fragility of survival. Every corner of the city seemed to whisper stories of deprivation and cunning. Cesar, walking silently ahead of them, seemed oblivious to this exchange of memories. His mind was fixed on the objective of his mission. However, for Ren and Leo, this journey through the ruins of their past served as a tacit reminder of how far they had come and the harsh reality that drove them to seek a place in the Aurora. The city, in its desolation, was a silent testament to their resilience and the bonds forged in adversity. Upon reaching their destination, a building that still stood despite its cracks, Ren and Leo were surprised to see that the inn The Daybreak was still active. They entered and found themselves in what used to be a bar. A few customers, with somber faces and lost looks, were scattered at the tables. This surprised Ren and Leo, as there weren't many people around. The only employee visible was the bartender, who cleaned glasses with slow, monotonous movements. Cesar already knew this. He knew the city better than anyone. Seeing Ren and Leo's surprise, he smiled ironically and said, "In these times, survival doesn't keep a schedule." Upon entering, the atmosphere immediately changed. Ren, Leo, and Cesar were met by a palpable wave of hostility. Several tough-looking, seasoned patrons scattered around the place fixed their gazes on the trio, not bothering to hide their disapproval. The air felt dense, charged with latent tension. The boys, though nervous about the sudden hostility, strove to maintain their composure. They exchanged quick glances and tried to appear calm as they followed Cesar toward the bar. They ordered something to eat from the bartender, a burly man with a scar running across his cheek and an equally distrustful look. While they waited for their order, Cesar, whose perception of danger was finely calibrated, immediately sensed the hostility directed at them. His body began to react instinctively. A thin aura of intense red began to emanate from his skin, enveloping him like a visible halo of heat. The air around him vibrated, and nearby tables began to tremble slightly. Small cracks emerged on the bar's surface and spread across the dusty floor. With a menacing slowness, Cesar turned his body, allowing his power-laden gaze to sweep across the others present in the inn. The red aura surrounding him intensified, projecting small dancing flames around him. His voice, though low, resonated with an implicit threat that silenced any murmur in the place. "Does anyone have a problem here?" Cesar asked, his tone dangerously calm. The reaction was immediate. The patrons who had previously stared at them brazenly now avoided his gaze, finding a sudden interest in their drinks or the void in front of them. No one dared to challenge the clear demonstration of power emanating from Cesar. They understood, without the need for words, the vast difference in strength. The uncomfortable silence that settled over the inn was the best response to Cesar's intimidating question. The tension, though still present, became more cautious, tinged with palpable fear. Once their food was served, a simple dish of chicken and rice, Cesar leaned toward the bartender, his red aura now discreetly contained, but the intensity in his eyes still palpable. "Tell me, man," Cesar began in a voice that, though softer than before, still had an authoritarian edge as he slid a silver coin to the bartender. "Have you heard of the Lady of Fire?" Upon hearing that name, the bartender's weathered face visibly paled. His eyes, previously full of distrust toward the trio, now filled with genuine fear. He stammered slightly before answering, his gaze evasive. What business do you have with her?" Cesar gave him a penetrating look, without blinking. "I just want to say hello." The simplicity of the answer contrasted with the intensity of his gaze, making it clear there was much more behind his words. The bartender hesitated, wiping his sweaty hands with a filthy rag. His reluctance was evident. Finally, with a tone of sincere warning, he murmured, "For your own good, you shouldn't look for that woman. She is dangerous." Ren and Leo, who had been silently observing the tense interaction, exchanged surprised glances. The bartender's reaction and the mysterious mention of the Lady of Fire piqued their curiosity to the maximum. Who could this woman be who instilled so much fear in the local people, and why did Cesar, with his own volatile temperament, wish to meet her? The recruitment mission had just taken an unexpected and much more intriguing turn. Once they finished their frugal meal and Cesar paid with a few worn metal coins, the bartender, still looking nervous, slid a single copper coin across the bar toward them. "May the wind be in your favor," he told them in a tone that sounded more like a plea than a wish. Ren and Leo looked at each other, confused by the gesture and the strange blessing. "May the wind be in your favor." Leo murmured, puzzled. "What does that mean?" As they left the inn and the tense atmosphere behind, Cesar finally explained. "This place," he began in his usual pragmatic tone, "is known for being a discreet meeting point for the Wind faction. They are a group, specialized in buying and selling information. The bartender is a kind of intermediary, who sometimes authorizes or denies access to certain data." The revelation surprised the rookies. "So, the silver coin was a ritual to get information there?" Ren asked. "Only those who know about that ritual can get information, but if the bartender doesn't trust you, he won't give you anything, even if you do the ritual." "But why was he so afraid when he heard the name Lady of Fire?" inquired Leo, his curiosity now centered on the mysterious woman. Cesar sighed briefly, a sign that he was about to tell a story he would rather avoid. "A couple of years ago, there was an incident. The Lady of Fire," his voice darkened slightly when mentioning the name, "almost completely wiped out the Wind faction by herself. They sold information about her whereabouts to a rival group. Let's just say she retaliated, in a very fiery manner." Ren and Leo exchanged looks of astonishment and unease. The image of a single person decimating an entire faction was chilling. "So the bartender remembers," Cesar continued in a somber tone. "And he knows that if someone asks for her, it's not exactly to invite her for tea. The copper coin, that's a signal. It means they want nothing to do with our business. They're either wishing us luck, or warning us of the danger." The first stop on their recruitment mission had turned out to be much more intriguing and dangerous than Ren and Leo could have ever imagined. The Lady of Fire stood as a menacing figure on the horizon, and her connection to the person Cesar sought to recruit for the Aurora was a mystery they longed to unravel.